Greetings, gamers! Welcome to part number 11 of my playthrough Pokemon Colosseum, all Shadow Pokemon. It's time to go to fight number 9. You've done well to get here, but there's no next battle for you after this. I'll destroy you thoroughly. Cypher Peon Baron would like to battle. Geodude and Geodude. That's an interesting combination of Pokemon you've got there. Not a good one, definitely interesting. Umbreon and Espeon are ready for combat, and because both my Pokemon have special attacks, your incredibly good defense kind of means nothing in the grand scheme of things. So I think I'm just going to be able to take out both of them in a single hit. So I actually like that a lot of the abilities in Gen 4 and 5 were buffed. Especially Gen 5 gave a lot of buffs to a lot of really old abilities that were just trash, like Sturdy. Sturdy is an ability that makes it so that your Pokemon can survive at 1 HP if he is at full health. He cannot possibly be in one hit taken down to 0. That's not what these Pokemon have here. They do have Sturdy, but Sturdy just protects against one-hit KO moves in this game, which is a bit of a shame because it means that Sturdy is kind of incredibly lackluster, not very useful of an ability, and kind of pointless, really, because almost nobody uses one-hit KO moves. Which is unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. Now, I will throw it out there. Even though I like the buffs of these abilities, particularly Sturdy, I actually don't like it for the enemies to have them. I don't really like the enemy having Sturdy and so on and so forth, so it's actually kind of cool that I can go back and play something like Gen 3 with a game like Colosseum and just totally ignore it. Which is, something great in my humble opinion. I can go back and experience Pokemon before they made massive changes. Why are you so outrageously strong? Because I'm the protagonist, obviously, and because I know how to train Pokemon. I actually have fully evolved Pokemon. Don't get a swelled head just because you beat me. Master Dakim will deflate your pride real quick. Yeah, he is actually kind of an extremely tough battle. Before I go on that battle, I'm going to have to go and heal up. Now it is time to face Dakim.
Fine. After all the persuading I did, you still won't hand it over? Huh. This is what happens to stubborn oafs who don't do as I say. You treacherous swine! How could you refuse to battle? Treacherous. You didn't really think that a worm like you could win? All you had to do was hand over the time flute without making a fuss. It's your own fault for getting hurt. Since you're not cooperating, I don't have any choice but to haul you off to Ein's lab. Huh? Who are you? What were my underlings doing? That outfit of yours. You must be the troublemaker who messed with Scrub in Celebi's forest. And now you've come to mess with me, the great Dakim? Don't make me laugh. I'll pound a lesson into your flesh and bones, so you'll never even think of bothering me again.
Cypher Admin Dakim. Probably my favorite of the admins in this game, and it has to do with not only his just design, he looks pretty cool. He also has an insanely cool team, in my humble opinion. Insanely cool team. Alright, so I have to kind of hope that what he's going to be doing is using Earthquake on Graveler and Protect on Metang, because that's his plan. He is an Earthquake Protect spam monster, and it's actually what I'm basically going to be doing the rest of this game. Now, I'm not only going to be doing this. There are some other strategies I have, like using stuff similar to Surf and other things of that sort. but it is all in all a really good strategy. So my very next Pokemon that I'm going to be catching for my team is actually going to be Golem. I have never been able to play with a Golem in any playthrough of any Pokemon game ever, because it's a trade evolution Pokemon and I've never had the ability to trade for it. And I just thought this would be a fantastic thing to add to my collection of Pokemon and things I've done. I would like to get a Gengar. Like I said, I am absolutely going to get a Gengar if I can, but I don't think there is one in this game to catch. So that's an unfortunate reality, is that you're not always going to be granted everything that you would necessarily want. So I might not be able to get a Gengar. I'm probably not going to have anything like a Machamp. I think Golem is pretty much the only one of the trade evolutions that I can get with my strategy here. And here's the other Pokemon I will be catching. That is Marshtomp. So yes, he is going to be down 2 Pokemon. I know, it's just not great. You know, now that I think about it, well, I guess I could use Psybeam on Marshtomp's replacement. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So Marshtomp is going to be caught as well. And after I catch Marshtomp, then I'm going to be having to deal with the rest of Dakim's team. All of them are quite powerful, and this is still going to be a difficult battle, especially because I pretty much only have Umbreon and Espeon to be dealing with his Pokemon. Psybeam. Camerupt almost went down to a single Psybeam, and the Earthquake will KO Camerupt. A critical hit. Ooh. Glad he did not critical hit Espeon. He definitely would have fainted that Pokemon. And this should be bringing out his final Pokemon? Since he only has 5 and I took away 2. Entei. Yes. So the original Shadow Pokemon that you're supposed to catch from him is a level 40 Entei, which is kind of incredible, if you want my humble and honest opinion. Now, I plan on just doubling down on Entei as best as I possibly can to get him off the field. You'll notice I've been virtually ignoring Metang. When I did my practice run of this game, what I did was I used Confuse Ray on Metang the first turn, and it worked just fine. It wasn't like I had a real problem doing that, but it was definitely kind of... there was some potential for some things going wrong, but I'll just throw it out there. Golem might have been a bad choice, actually, because I'm pretty sure Metang is going to use... yes, bad choices. Bad choices have been made. Yes, Earthquake. Oh well, I was going to send out Quilava as my other choice, so I guess it kind of didn't really matter. Though, my Reflect is still in effect. Bite and Shadow Rush. Fire Blast, and who are you going for? Not very effective, so Golem survives for just a little bit longer. Entei is going to faint here, which is fine. Like I said, I'm not going back and catching any of these Pokemon. I don't care about the original shadows of this game. I've already done that. I'm moving on. Psychic? Wow. Maybe he wised up to the fact that he wasn't really helping his team by nuking his team. Okay, Quilava with Flame Wheel as well as Bite should be able to help me take out this Metang. Flame Wheel. Now, if he Earthquakes, I could just see the doom of Quilava here if I don't KO. Oh, but I did. That's very nice. One of the many reasons why I like having Quilava and Also, making sure that he's purified before this fight is so that I can reliably use Flame Wheel, because if you use any other move than Shadow Rush, there's a chance you're going to go into Hyper Mode. Which Hyper Mode is great and all, but then once you're in Hyper Mode, you can't use other moves.
Ah, you meddlesome pest.
Alright, so Dakim is defeated.
The way you handled those Pokemon with your audacious skill, who are you?
Master Dakim!
Ah, Scrub, you were hopelessly outclassed against him. You had zero chance of winning. I'm pulling out for now. You go to Ein's lab and help out there.
As you wish, sir.
This isn't over yet. Stronger Pokemon are being made even now. You'd better get serious about training your Pokemon for our next meeting.
And he just jumps off the mountain. Gamerman, there's something on the ground. Found one F disc. What will that be used for? Oh, that wasn't an experience I'd ever want to have again. I'm glad you came to my rescue. Thank you. I'm Vander. I'm an area leader here at Mount Battle. I'm Sarina, and this is Gamerman. We're glad to see you. Sarina explained everything that had happened to Vander. Thank you for explaining it off-screen. What you've told me explained a lot. Thanks to you, I know exactly why they attacked us. This is the Time Flute. I happened to find it while I was on my training trek. It said that the Time Flute will summon Celebi, but just once. There must be something about Celebi that frightens them. They obviously don't want Celebi to encounter Shadow Pokemon. But let's not spend any more time here. Let's go back. But here, I want you to have this. Obtained the Time Flute. Nice. But, are you certain? May we really have something this precious? Of course you may. I'd rather have you use that Time Flute than have those crooks take it by force. Use it and save the Shadow Pokemon from their sinister plans. I surely will. Thank you. Found TM47, and that would be... Steel Wing. Steel Wing is actually a pretty decent... I think it's like the best Steel-type move in this generation. Besides Meteor Mash, but Meteor Mash can only be learned by Metagross? Maybe Jirachi, but I don't think so. So, that being said, I need to heal up and save. Alright, so now that I have healed up and saved and moved my Pokemon around, I have my party as is. So let's go ahead and look at my Pokemon. Everybody on this team is a permanent mainstay except for Espeon. Espeon will be replaced, and potentially, like I said, Duskull, if I were to get like a Gengar, I think that'd be really cool. I even thought about using Haunter, because Haunter is still not that bad, but I don't think I've seen a Ghastly or a Haunter in any way, shape, or form. And then Quilava, there's potential that I could switch out Quilava if, and only if, I were to find a Torchic Combusken Blaziken. That's what I would do. I was at one time thinking about having the trio of the Gen 3 starters. You do find a Sceptile in this game at some point. Or I should say a Grovyle. The problem is that he's too high of a level, and he's missed out on many of his great moves, including his signature move, which means that he doesn't really have a good grass stab option besides Giga Drain, and Giga Drain's not good. It's actually weaker than Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade is the best option in this gen besides Solar Beam, and Solar Beam has its issues. I could do a Sunny Day Solar Beam kind of situation, but I'm not going to. And that's just how that goes, honestly. It can't be understated, the fact that I think that my strategy is just a little bit better than that. I would absolutely love a Blaziken. My original strategy when I played Pokemon Colosseum was kind of a little bit all around. But when I find what I was trying to do was I was trying to make a sand team. And I eventually got to that point with like Tyranitar and Tar and everybody else that I was able to catch and so on and so forth. And basically everybody on my team was sand immune. And then I had like a weather setter team regardless because I had Entei, Suicune, Raikou, and then I had 3 sand immune Pokemon. So I could switch the weather to rain or sun in the case that I needed it for Suicune, Entei, or Raikou, or I can have a weather setter in Tyranitar, and then I would have like other Pokemon that could support him. And that's kind of what I wanted to do there. That's not at all what I'm doing here. What I'm doing here is I'm just going to have basically Dakim's team. I'm going to have Earthquake, Protect, Spam, and then Pokemon who are immune to Earthquake, but also have like coverage options. Coughing is a very good coverage option Pokemon. Marshtomp is fantastic. Duskull is basically my tank right now who's going to be replacing Umbreon. I am going to be very soon going through and grinding these Pokemon to get them all unpurified and get them all relatively around level 38 to 39-ish, maybe 40, I'm not entirely sure, just to be ready for this upcoming part of this game, because Duskull being level 25 is just kind of abysmal, and I didn't realize that I could find another Duskull later on that would be a little bit higher leveled, so it's going to take me a little while. I'm going to have to EXP share him, switch train him, so on and so forth. Other than that, I think it's basically time for me to leave. Oh, Sarina, I heard. There was a big commotion on Mount Battle. Egan's worried sick about you. Quick, hurry home and reassure him that you're safe and sound. Alright, so Agate was the next place I'm supposed to go to. Sarina and Gamerman, it's good to see you both. So, how goes it? Have you trounced the Cretans that raided Mount Battle? Yes, we did. I expected nothing less of my own granddaughter, and of course, Gamerman. I see, so Vander conferred the Time Flute upon you. Then, what are you waiting for? Depart for the Relic Forest and summon Celebi at once. I wonder what will happen. I find it quite exciting. Ah, yes, there's something I'd forgotten. Gamerman, may I have the number of your PDA thing? Alright. Good. I'll try to reach out you at this number if anything happens. This makes us pen pals. Ho, ho, ho. Pen pals. That's crazy. Haven't really heard concept of that in many years. Alright, time to go to the Relic Forest and summon Celebi. And I don't think I'm going to do this too often because, you know, by the time I get the other Time Flutes, there's 3 Time Flutes you can obtain in this game. One of them you can only obtain at the end of Mount Battle, so you have to beat the whole 100 trainers. I'm not obtaining that. There's just absolutely no way I could be bothered to try to obtain that. You get the one free from Vander, and then you get one later on from a disc that you get for sort of like the F disc, but it's the U disc that gives you it. And by the time you get that, it's pretty late in the game. I'm going to have all of my members of my team. They're all going to be purified. I could technically use it on my second team because I do want a second team for something funny I'm going to be doing later on. It's going to be my post-game team because I am going to do the post-game because there is story to the post-game of this. I'm just not going to be doing like all the grinding or going through Mount Battle or trying to purify everything. Obviously, I'm not going to be getting Ho-Oh because you have to obtain every Shadow Pokemon in this game and purify them all. Then you have to beat Mount Battle in the Battle Colosseum Challenge in the the side content of this game, not the main story. It's before you. It's like the Battle Colosseum challenges and whatnot, Mount Battle Challenge. You have to beat it there with all Shadow Pokemon purified. Then you obtain Ho-Oh. I'm not going to be doing any of that. Just throwing it out there. Time Flute. Go ahead and use on, I guess, Duskull. He needs it the most right now. And Celebi instantly purified Duskull and regained the move Nightshade. Obtained a Riven, and no. Alright, that's pretty cool. It is time for me to leave. Alright, gamers. This is just a brief intermission where I am back. I guess you wouldn't call it an intermission. I am back for a moment just to explain the fact that I'm going to... by the next time you see me, all of my Pokemon that I have right now are going to be purified and leveled to where they need to be. I'm going to be taking on Mount Battle and doing just that, making sure that my Pokemon are all ready for this next portion of the game, because I'm no longer going to be using Shadow Pokemon. As little as I did use them, I think they were still very useful, especially, obviously, only Quilava, really. But I think this is going to change quite a bit in Pokemon XD. I think in XD, I'm going to end up using Shadow Pokemon a little bit more, especially in the later game, because in that game, you have more than just a single move. You don't just have Shadow Rush. And Shadow Pokemon have a little bit more of an interesting niche and capacity to do certain interesting things in that game rather than this game. In this game, they're really just, honestly, fighting machines in the sense that Shadow Rush is an amazing move, and if you have decent attack and are in hyper mode, you have the capacity to do insane amounts of damage. So, I will see you soon. Whoa now, Gamerman! Why would you happen to be in Phoenix City? Well, because I have another Pokemon to catch. In fact, my last current Pokemon in my party. Kind of an early catch, especially because I'm not even 1/3 through this game's mainline story. And that is a Pokemon from Justy. Oh, hello. I guess you finally got your 6th Pokemon for your party. Well then, would you like to battle against me? Sure. Okay, gotcha. This is making me feel sort of giddy. When you're ready to go to the battle area in the center and stand on the left side. Sure thing.
Gamerman, go for it. I'll be right here cheering.
Okay, let's get this battle underway. Show me a great battle. I don't actually know if I can beat Justy, so I might have to level up a bit more before I can. But hopefully, I can. Being that he has level 41s, I might be a little bit incapable of doing this right now. Even with the fact that my Pokemon are all fully evolved at this current time. Alright, so I think... man, I'm just not sure right now. Both of my Pokemon are double weak to Cacnea. Maybe I do, like... Master Ball on Gligar and switch out Swampert, I guess, to Typhlosion. Yeah, so unfortunately for Gligar, he is going to be caught because he is my 6th Pokemon. It does mean that I'm not going to really be able to utilize him right now because he's a little bit too high of a level for the rest of my team. I need to level up my other members of my team. Doesn't matter. I will be switching out Espeon for him immediately and just allowing him to sit in the background and basically, lower his heart gauge a little bit, and maybe I'll even do some other stuff around that. Hopefully I can get the Vivid Sense, or the Sense right now. I should be able to get the Cologne case, because I think it's after Mount Battle has been dealt with, you can find the lady with the Cologne case. Not too sure on this matter, but I will be checking. Either way, let's go with Double Edge on Azumarill, Flame Wheel on Cacnea. So Cacnea, alongside every other one of his Pokemon, have either moves or abilities that allow for evasion. Many of them having Double Team, including the Gligar I just caught. So my Gligar in my team is objectively, from Justy, is a better Gligar than you can possibly get in any other way, shape, or form in and around Colosseum in most of Gen 3. And the reason is because of his moveset. Gligar just doesn't have good moves. Never has had good moves, and pretty much never will have good moves, at least in these generations, in Generation 2 and 3. So that being said, I absolutely am glad that I'm able to take advantage of catching him from Justy through this method, even if it seems a little bit silly that I'm capable of doing that and taking advantage of it. You'd think like, well, you know, it's not really that fair because I'm quote unquote cheating. And you know what I have to say to that? Don't care. Light screen. Oh, wow. Yeah, this team, Justy's team, is actually pretty darn powerful. Most of his Pokemon are fully evolved, and most of his Pokemon have some pretty toxic strategies in the evasion kind of oriented style. Sunflora. Yep, I will be able to knock you out instantaneously with Flame Wheel. And because I outspeed, you know, that's going to be awesome. So using Sunny Day would have probably been a great boon, especially because, you know, I wouldn't be taking this chip damage. Maybe I'll do that right now. Yeah, I think I'll actually do that, depending on how many Pokemon he has left. So he has 3 Pokemon left. Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and use Sunny Day so that my Flame Wheels will hit quite a bit stronger. In fact, 50% more powerfully. And that will give me a little bit of an edge for the remainder 2 Pokemon I have to fight here. And I'm getting some, you know, reasonable experience points. I cannot wait to have Gligar purified, because he is going to be a fantastic member of my team as well. Because not only is he flying around, but he'll also have Dig and Double Team, as well as Aerial Ace. So he'll have good stab on both of his types, and the means to make sure that he has the ability to avoid enemies. I actually don't think that I will be using... Oh man, I guess Golem is kind of a bad pick in this little fight here, so I guess I'll throw back Swampert into the mix. Flame Wheel. So I don't think I'm going to be changing any of Gligar's move, because he also has Sandstorm and he has Sand Veil. So with Sand Veil, he basically gets a 20% evasion if he's in a Sandstorm. And though I don't really have a Sandstorm team, most of my Pokemon are either immune to it or don't mind it per se. And that means that I can kind of use that with impunity. Use it for chip damage, use it for the evasion boost. It's a little bit better than using Double Team, in my opinion, using Sandstorm, but there are going to be times where maybe Double Team would be the better option. Muddy Water, Flame Wheel. The fact that Sunflora survived, man, just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Muddy Water, hopefully this hits. Avoided. Both of you avoided. Now, Muddy Water does have the serious problem of only being 85% accurate at base. And you would think that it's not great at that point, but I love this move. Absolutely love this move. Way more than I probably should. And I love it way more than Surf. 30% chance to make your enemies just lose accuracy. Now, I'm not doing an accuracy team. As I said before, it's more about like Earthquakes, man, but just having like options is so good. Wheezing. That's another Pokemon I have never used in any playthrough ever, is a Weezing. And it wasn't until very recently that I discovered that he's actually kind of insanely good, in the sense that he's really good defensively, has a really decent type. It's not good offensively, but it is good defensively, as well as the fact that You know, Levitate is amazing on this Pokemon. He has very good coverage in Thunder, Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Fire Blast. Sludge is a decent move, just all in all. Now, it would be better if it was Sludge Bomb, but I don't even think that's possible in this gen. I don't think he learns it naturally, and I don't know if it's a TM. All right, Mud Shot. And let's go with Will-O-Wisp. That's another move I will absolutely be keeping, is Will-O-Wisp. Yep, you can go ahead and faint your little crazy self. Player defeated pre-gym leader Justy. What? Ah, my team was perfectly fine. Wow, that was one challenging and satisfying battle. Look at this. My palms are drenched with sweat. There's no shame in this loss. I'm one lucky guy for being a part of this spectacular battle. Yeah, so originally, now you do have to talk to him. I'm glad that I got the opportunity to battle with you. I want you to have this. Consider it a memento of our battle. And he gives you TM27. Honestly, our battle was fantastic. I will never forget the battle we had. I believe this is double team. And no, it's return. It's return. I was wrong. That's interesting. Toxic is, man, I'm really thinking about giving that to, let's see, Pokemon Summary. Man, maybe I'll stick with, so Shadow Punch isn't really that great of a move, but it can never miss, which is pretty cool. And it gets stabbed. Nightshade would be considerably better. I don't think that this Dusclops is even close to having a moveset that I would want out of him. Potentially would do Will-O-Wisp or Toxic. I haven't figured out which one I'm going to do for him. Curse is a good move, especially on a bulky ghost type. It is a good move. So that's probably something I'm going to be keeping. It puts my opponent's Pokemon on a timer, which is always good. Of course, you're not staying in the party. So this is, I wouldn't say the best. This isn't the best Weezing ever. I definitely want to get rid of Shockwave for like Thunder. I don't think I have access to Thunder quite yet, but I will soon. I should soon, definitely. And when I do, I'm going to give him Thunder. The only thing is, though, is I think that's bad for like a Sunny Day combination. I was thinking of Fire Blast instead of Will-O-Wisp. That's a possibility, but Will-O-Wisp is just so good. It's only 75% accurate in this generation, which does stink, but having your opponent's physical attack as well as dealing burn damage every turn is just awesome. Sludge is his best poison-type move unless he does get Sludge Bomb, so, you know, there's that. I don't know quite yet what I'll do with that. Yeah, Swampert is definitely changing some of these moves out. He's definitely going to be getting Earthquake at some point. Protect as well is definitely going to be a boon. Rock Throw is very unfortunately the only Rock-type move that Golem learns naturally in this generation. And that means that I can't give him Rock Slide or anything like that because there is no TM for it in this. At least I'm certain that's the case. And there might be a TM for Rock Slide in one of the Colosseums. I don't necessarily know that I want to be bothered to go through the Colosseums to figure this out. Earthquake is just an amazing move. I am seriously considering keeping Double Edge because he has Rockhead, so he prevents recoil damage. There is the possibility that what I could do is, because I do want to keep Protect on him, and the reason why I'm keeping Protect on him is obviously because he's quad weak to both water and grass, and he's also weak to ground, so there's going to be times where I could take advantage of Protect. And then using Earthquake spam is not always going to be viable having somebody like Weezing or Gligar on the field, so I could use him on the field too and just Protect spam, which would be pretty good. I'm seriously considering keeping Double Edge on him instead of Explosion, and I'm just not sure yet because I know that Weezing learns Explosion, and that's probably going to be his 4th move, but I'm also not sure because Memento is really cool. It's not necessarily as good as Explosion, but it could be very helpful in some aspects or use cases. Other than that, I'm pretty well done with everything I wanted to do in this area. I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe, depending on your platform of choice. And while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.